This wasn't just a scandal. It wasn't even a fall from grace. It was a detonation, a seismic implosion that shook the whole machine and left only scorched reputations and unanswered questions in its wake. Who was Jennifer Lopez, really? The cunning architect of a decades-long blackmail empire? Or the starlet caught in the crosshairs? Framed by people who needed a pretty face to point at while they pulled the strings, the courtroom was practically vibrating with drama, like it had been waiting its whole life for this moment. Whispered gossip bloomed into full-on gasps, reporters jostled each other like kids at a Black Friday sale, and camera flashes lit up the room as if the second coming had better PR. The judge? A cherry-red mess banging his gavel like that was going to do anything to tame the circus unraveling before him. And at the eye of this gloriously chaotic storm, Jennifer Lopez. But not that Jennifer. No dazzling red carpet queen or stadium conquering diva here. This was a very different J.Lo, one whose breath came in shallow little wisps, whose eyes darted with a cocktail of terror and raw, unfiltered rage. That trademark Lopez composure? Oh, it was cracking like cheap glass. You could almost timestamp the exact second she realized she'd passed the point of no return. And then, bam! The bombshell, a warrant issued for her immediate arrest. Pandemonium. Screams bounced off the marble like ricocheting bullets. Reporters raised their phones like they were filming the moon landing. Cops surged in like a SWAT team audition. But Jennifer, she didn't stick around for the encore. Nope. She bolted. She kicked off her heels like she was tossing dead weight, then launched herself from the defense table with the kind of precision that suggested this little getaway had been choreographed between rehearsals and red carpets. 1 second she was center stage, the next, gone, vanishing down a hallway clearly marked for staff, not scandal-plagued pop royalty. The cameras barely caught the blur of her silhouette before she melted into the gray sprawl of Manhattan like a myth slipping out the back door. Poof. Jennifer Lopez. Celebrity, icon, fugitive. Moments before her dramatic vanishing act, the courtroom had been hit with testimony so explosive it might as well have come with a mushroom cloud. Enter Sean Combs, Diddy himself, cool as a corpse, perched on the witness stand with all the warmth of a tax auditor. And then he dropped it. No, he detonated it. He didn't paint Jennifer as some poor, clueless girlfriend caught in the wrong limo. Nope. He pointed the finger straight at her and called her the mastermind. Not an accomplice. The boss. According to Diddy, this wasn't just fame and flash gone wrong, it was an empire. A sleek black market machine camouflaged beneath Versace gowns and platinum albums, hidden cameras in luxury suites, designer drugs slipped into celebrity cocktails like it was just another party favor, lavish A-list soirees that doubled as blackmail factories, guests unknowingly starring in their own destruction. And when the footage wasn't enough to keep them quiet, there were other methods, threats, payoffs, or whatever came after worse, and somewhere out there, a vault. Not metaphorical, a literal one, packed with hundreds of hours of damning footage, proof, receipts, ruin. A secret so dark, so dripping in decadence and depravity, it could have ripped Hollywood open like a rotten peach. And according to Diddy, guess who was standing dead center when the rot set in? Jennifer Lopez. He said she knew it all, every whispered name, every silenced voice, every camera that shouldn't have been there. She wasn't just present. Oh no. She was running the damn show. The silence in the courtroom after that little bombshell, you could have heard a Botox injection drop. And then, like a dam cracking under the weight of years, the stories came rushing in. The ones that had always been too wild, too absurd, until now. Like that green Versace dress from the 2000 VMAs, the one that broke the internet before we even had a name for it. Suddenly, it wasn't just fashion history, it was evidence. A former stylist had once muttered off the record and off the rails that the fabric had been laced with low-dose sedatives. Party favors with a designer label slipped into the bloodstream as easily as compliments on a red carpet. Everyone dismissed it at the time, of course, just another tinfoil hat tabloid fantasy. But now, after Diddy's clinical, dead-eyed delivery, it felt all too plausible, especially when you remembered that, on that very night, a young woman had been found unconscious backstage. Later, 2 celebrities were tied to the assault. Names kept quiet, deals struck in back rooms lit by LED flashbulbs. But there'd been whispers of a third, Unnamed, uncharged, but unmistakable. A woman, well-dressed, familiar, present. And just like that, the old rumors weren't just rumors anymore. They were receipts finally coming due. Then came the whispers, now practically shouting about a blackmail vault. No longer urban legend, but an all-too-real digital Pandora's box. Not just a few clips, but files, folders, footage, enough to detonate careers, dissolve billion-dollar deals, and drag skeletons out of Hollywood closets so fast they'd need their own agents. A-list actors, tech billionaires, power-hungry politicians, and weaving through it all like a glamorous ghost, Jennifer Lopez, sometimes in the footage, often behind it, smiling, charming, disarming, while others were too busy looking at her to notice the camera lens aimed right over their shoulder. She made people feel safe, one former event staffer muttered, like they were recalling a cult leader rather than a pop icon. That was the trap. Of course it was. Comfort's always the bait, and once you're lulled into her glittering gravity, the fall's already halfway over. Then came the whispers of betrayal. Oh, the plot thickened faster than a red carpet foundation touch-up. Someone close, someone inside, a leak, or maybe a warning disguised as one. Whatever it was timed with surgical precision. Old photos surfaced like corpses in a river, grainy, damning, deliberately dredged up. Forgotten documents reappeared with eerie convenience. People who once name-dropped her for clout suddenly ghosted her harder than a bad Tinder date. Ex-lovers ducked reporters like they'd developed sudden allergies to microphones. Collaborators? Nowhere to be found. There were murmurs, barely whispers, about loyalty sold for immunity, about someone offering her up on a silver platter to protect something, or someone much bigger. And just like that, the question twisted itself into something uglier. Was Jennifer Lopez the monster pulling the strings, or the pawn being sacrificed by the real architects? The scapegoat in 6-inch stilettos? Then came the files. FBI memos started bubbling to the surface like oil slicks. Ugly, toxic, undeniable. Millions in quiet transfers to off-the-grid security firms. Bank accounts tucked away in the Virgin Islands, dressed in names that didn't exist. Contractors paid to clean house, erase footage, redirect escape routes, scorch every last breadcrumb behind her. She wasn't just fleeing justice. She might have been fleeing something far more lethal. Because if the vault, the infamous vault, ever saw daylight, it wouldn't just shatter reputations, it would end lives, put people behind bars, end careers in seconds and entire industries in minutes. She knows too much, one investigator said flatly. And you believed them, because there are people out there who'd rather reduce the world to ashes than let her open her mouth. Maybe that's why she vanished so perfectly. Not a slip, not a stumble, just gone. Like she'd rehearsed it between tour dates. Weeks later, encrypted drives turned up in a dingy Manhattan storage locker rented under some half-baked alias linked to her legal team. Innocent-looking labels, too. Project Green, VMAs. Cute little nods to nothing. Except insiders claimed the files inside were anything but. Schematics, full blueprints, plans so precise, so chilling, they made everything feel less like a scandal and more like a manifesto. How to sedate a room without raising suspicion, how to steer a headline without lifting a finger, how to lock down a party so tight even the flies needed credentials, while the hidden cameras did their quiet, ugly work. These weren't rumors anymore. These were documents. One especially charming little file, labeled escape routes, spelled it out plain. She'd had an exit strategy from the very beginning. While the world gawked at her glamour, she'd been drawing blueprints in the shadows. One witness claimed they saw them, both of them, boarding a private jet headed for Europe. Destination? Unknown, of course, because anonymity is the new luxury. Back in Hollywood, the cleanup had already begun. Quietly, desperately. Studios scrubbing records, publicists rewriting client histories in real time. It was less damage control and more crime scene sanitization. Was she hoarding secrets or drowning in them? Running because she was guilty? Or because someone out there had decided she'd seen too much? What do you think of this drama? Let us know in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe Celebrity Insider News and press the bell icon for more celebrity gossips. Thanks for watching.